thank you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today on our course, our session on anxiety and how to manage anxiety. Much of yoga therapy is about empowering you to bring your awareness and be able to manage your own triggers in the nervous system, thoughts that trigger off in the brain, sensation in the body. But before we do that, let's do a little practice, a very quick practice. Let's just stand. If you're able to do so, you have the space to do so. Let's just stand for a moment and don't change anything. This is a practice of awareness only. But what I'd like you to notice is, what is your energy like in your body or in your mind? What's the quality of thought happening here? Is there a lot of kind of nervous, anxious energy happening? Maybe not at this moment, but maybe you know how that feels when you begin to get triggered. And then notice the quality of your thought. Is there a lot of like buzzing around, kind of like a blender, your thoughts in a blender just whirring around? Or are you feeling a little more calm right now? And what I'd like you to do is bring your attention down to the soles of your feet and just notice the soles of your feet. And notice, where is your weight, the weight of your body, distributed in the soles of your feet right now? Is it more to the front of, like the toes? Is it more to the heel? Is it off to one side, right side, left side? Don't change anything. This is just to notice. So noticing the soles of the feet and the weight in the feet. And then coming up to the hips. Notice your pelvis. Is it tucked a little bit, or is it poking outwards? Is the tailbone tucking or poking back? And then the shoulders. Again, don't change anything. This is strictly exploration and observation of what your body normally does when you're asked to stand. Okay. So now shoulders. Are the shoulders curling in? Are they curving back? Is one higher than the other? And then where is your head? Is your head jutting forward? Is it over your neck, or is it forward of your neck, or some other way? So now just feeling how you normally stand and noticing how that feels. Now, if the weight is not evenly distributed in your feet, I would like you now to shift your weight so that it is better distributed in your feet. Okay? Whatever that is for you. Maybe you need to go back a little further. I tend to be more forward on my toes, so I definitely need to think more about coming back a little. And I also need to tuck my tailbone under a little bit so that my knees can release, because we want to keep the knees soft, not locked. And that kind of automatically lines up the rest of my bones in a better way when I think about this. Okay. So now, just after you've done your shift, just pause here. If you can, if it's safe, you can close your eyes and just feel your feet on the ground and feel your structure, your foundation all the way up, hips, shoulders, head, neck. And just noticing now, coming back, how does it feel in your body? What does the energy feel like in your body? Has anything changed just in our short practice? How about your thoughts? Has anything quieted or calmed down? And maybe it hasn't, and that's okay. Absolutely, that's okay too. There's no right or wrong answer here. The purpose of the observation, it's twofold actually. One is to notice, what is your body doing? Where is your body in space? This is called proprioception. And it's the understanding for the brain to know where your limbs are, what you're doing. This is proprioception, is the thing that when we sit down in the chair without having to look and sit down in the chair, it's the brain understanding very clearly where the body is. The second important thing to bringing awareness to our body is that this brings us into the present moment. When we're anxious, we tend to be thinking of past or future, and we're very rarely in the present moment. But if you bring yourself to your body, your physical body cannot be in the past or the future. So if you bring your attention to anything happening with your body, even if it's, where's my body right now? that will immediately draw you from those places into the present moment. And it's okay if you immediately go back out to, the past or the future. But the more you practice bringing your attention to your body, the more you're practicing present moment. And here is where you can have control and do something about those feelings that might be bubbling up for you. So that's just a quick practice. I would like to talk a little bit about the nervous system and the brain and thought and the physical sensation in the body, and how these are all very directly connected. And for those of you who do have anxiety on a regular basis, I definitely have in the past as well, and I still do. I was nervous about this class today because this is my first session on Insight Timer. So I'm so, so grateful and appreciative that you have joined me today. So even with myself feeling a little bit, butterflies and kind of like, oh my goodness, how's it going to go? What's going to happen? Bringing myself, instead of in those thoughts, into the soles of my feet, or even like touching my fingers. There's a million different tools that we can learn to bring ourselves away from that kind of chaos and into a calmer place. There's centering, there's grounding, there's so many things. But my question to you is, when you are starting to feel anxious, what triggers first for you? And this might be an observation for you to practice. Maybe you're not aware quite yet, and that's okay. And it could be changing. It could be like sometimes it's a thought that happens. You start to worry about something, and then the brain kind of triggers off the nervous system. The nervous system is like, oh, it doesn't feel safe. Something's happening. So then it goes into that sympathetic nervous system reaction, which is the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Now there's a variety of different ways. And what happens then is the reaction triggers a physical sensation as a reaction. So maybe it's a racing heart, or the butterflies in the tummy, or feeling like your throat is closing. Again, the way you experience it is the way you experience it. The other way is a sensation in the body happens first. So instead of the thought, it's the sensation. So the sensation is, I'm feeling a little anxious. How come I'm feeling like butterflies in my belly? And then right away the brain is, what's happening? We're not safe, which also triggers off the nervous system. So you can see how they're very closely related to each other. The good news is, with that understanding, there's many, many things that we can do to kind of stop that cycle, specifically with the body first, right? So movement of some sort, breath of some sort, mindfulness of some sort, that will calm everything down. As soon as we can tell the brain it's safe, and it might be something as simple as extending an exhale. If there's a tiger running after us, we're not going to be extending an exhale. And so immediately the brain will question and be like, okay, well, it can't be that dangerous, or it can't be that bad. So it will calm the nervous system. And then eventually the sensations in the body also will start to diminish. So my point being is, you have so much more control and power over this than you may imagine. And it really all comes down to noticing and observing how it happens for you, what the triggers are. And if you have chronic anxiety, I'm sure you're very aware of what the triggers are. Maybe it's large crowds of people, maybe it's who knows what, spiders. But once you know the triggers, you're armed with some information. Also understanding what it feels like first in the body, or what the thought is first in the mind. And then having your tools ready to intervene. And that is your moment of your greatest potential for change, and your greatest power is when you have the awareness. Then you have a space that has been created for you to be able to change something. So I asked you to bring a foot rolling ball or a towel. A towel will work as well. But if you have a foot rolling ball, let's just start with the feet. The feet are an excellent place to begin. I just have this squishy ball here. I have actually different sized ones. There's bigger ones, smaller ones. In the beginning, I was using, the dog, like from dollar store, the dog chew balls, and using one of those. So you can use anything like that if you have it, but you can also use a towel, like a face cloth, rolled up tightly. That would work as well. But all I want you to do is stand up if you aren't already and just place the ball under your right foot. Let's put it in the arch of the foot, okay? And again, you are the expert of your body. Anything that I suggest or guide you to do, that's the base layer. The most important layer is you understanding what is right for you on top of that. So if I ask you to press down as hard as you can, which I won't, and that feels very painful for you, then please, please listen to your own best interest, your own wisdom, and only press as far as what is comfortable for the body. Especially when going into places of pain, pain will actually create a recoil reaction in the body. And so we won't get the desired effect anyway, because instead of being open and relaxing, we're actually contracting more because it hurts. So number one rule is, no matter what I say, you are the expert of your body and what's happening with you. And I absolutely hope that you will also explore further. If you really like how this feels and I'm moving on to something else, continue doing this. I can't see what you're doing anyway. I can't even see if you're following along, to be honest. So you do you, okay? Just as long as there's no pain and that it feels safe, okay? And safe means it doesn't feel like you're triggering anything with the nervous system and therefore thoughts and anxiety and other things. So all I'm asking at this point is to press down the arch of the foot down onto the ball in whatever amount of pressure that feels good for you, okay? And just kind of rock. You can see I'm rocking kind of, I'm not stepping on and off of it. I'm just kind of rocking onto it. So there's two things I'd like you to notice here. I'd like you to notice the pressure or the sensation of the ball under the arch of the foot. But I also want you to notice how it feels in the other foot to be lifting off, because you're kind of rolling onto the front toes most likely. So notice both things. And again, the reason we're doing this, it's actually multifold. One is we have fascia lines throughout the body, which is the connective tissue that's kind of works as a web or a net throughout our whole system, our every cell, every bone, every muscle, every organ. And when fascia dehydrates or gets dried out, it can create adhesions throughout the body. So sometimes those who have a lot of anxiety, the fascia actually tends to kind of dehydrate and create adhesions. And then all of a sudden you have a sore low back or sore shoulders. This is partially because of the fascia. And what's exciting is just by doing this, you're affecting the fascia in the entire body. There's a line called the deep superficial back line, which goes from the sole of the foot all the way up the back and over into your eyebrows, literally. So just by doing this, if you have a sore neck or a sore low back, just rolling the feet will aid in loosening and nourishing and lubricating the fascia. So that's exciting. The other reason is, again, we're bringing our attention. Hopefully we're bringing our attention and focus to the sensation. So where are we? We're in the present moment, right? So I'll stop talking for a sec so that you can explore this. What I'd like you to explore also is move the ball into different parts of the foot. Okay, so feel free to explore into the heel, into the inside of the arch or the outside of the arch or up near the toes. So just explore, notice how it feels in the body. And notice what's happening in your mind, if anything. Are you holding your breath? If so, take a deep breath and let it go. Does it feel nice? Does it feel strange to actually notice your feet? Okay. Now, step off the ball and just stand for a moment, just as you normally do, and notice, is there a difference in sensation, not only between the right and the left foot, but also coming up the body? Does the right side feel different than the left side? And whatever you find is the right answer, okay? Some will feel very grounded and rooted on the right side, or maybe feel like a real connection to the whole right side of the body. And some don't feel anything at all, and that's okay too. What we are doing is telling the brain, here's my foot, here's the right side of my body. We're integrating the brain and its understanding of where the body is, coming back to proprioception again. So coming now, take the ball under the left foot. And again, first just under the arch, in the arch. And with that little rocking motion, if that feels good. Notice if this side feels any different than the other side. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. Noticing the ball under the arch and the pressure, the compression, but also noticing the right foot now coming up onto the toes, if that's what's happening, or the movement, any movement in the right foot. And then now feel free to explore, if you haven't started already, rolling the ball into different parts of your foot. So maybe it's the inside of the arch, maybe it's the outside of the arch, maybe it's more to the toes, more to the heel. Or if you hate this, stop doing it. Just stand. And again, noticing anything that might be happening in other areas of the body. Notice if you feel impatient, that you feel like this isn't enough work or enough of an exercise. That's also something to notice. And you could question why. Okay. And then step off the ball again, stand again, and see if anything has balanced out. If there was that feeling of more of a rooted or integrated right side, if this now has equated to both sides or not, it's okay either way, as I said. Just notice what there is to notice. And notice if your knees are locked. We do not want the knees locked. We want to keep them slightly soft, not bent, but just soft. And if they were locked and you released them, did you feel anything shift in your hips or pelvis or low back? Again, no right or wrong answer. Take a breath, let it go. On your next exhale, see if you can extend the exhale. Make the exhale slower than the inhale. The exhale can be with an open mouth, like a sigh, or it can be through the nose, or any other way you like. So now before we go on to the next movement, notice again, checking back again from when you began. How do you feel energy in your body right now? Any busyness in the body or the mind? Is anything beginning to ease or calm? And then you can just bring a little bit of movement. Now, depending on your ability with like range of motion or flexibility, this is not about touching your toes or being able to, make yourself into a pretzel. Yoga therapy is all about exploration and observation of what's happening in your body, your amazing, magnificent body, what's happening in your brain, your juicy, juicy brain, your nervous system, and how all of these work together to create your life experience. You live your life through the filter of those three things connecting and telling you what's happening. This is how we all live life. We can only experience our lives through our thoughts, our sensation, our emotions, right? So let's just explore, make this like an interpretive dance almost. I'm just doing this because I feel a little bit of anxiety, not anxiety, but just a little bit too much energy. And I'd like to slow it down a little bit for myself. So by doing this, I'm kind of moving it through a little faster so that I can calm myself down. Maybe it's big circles with the arms. If that's too big of a range for the arms, you could also do hands on the shoulders and just big circles with your elbows. Just explore how it feels to move in observation. Have fun with it. It's playful, right? It's playful and curious. And there's no judgment or criticism on what you find for yourself. Just observe. Maybe a big circle like this. And of course, if you're doing a circle, you have to change directions, go the other way as well. And maybe a little bit of a twist. Let your arms kind of slap around your body if that feels okay. Okay. And then just coming to standing again, place a hand on your belly and a hand on your chest. Do it this way so I don't hit the mic. Kind of just below your neck, like just in your collarbone area and in your belly button area. And just breathe and notice where you feel the most movement. Which hand feels the most movement? We're not trying to change anything. Observation, okay? So just breathe deeply and notice how your breath moves your hands. Maybe the hand that's up top, you can also feel your heartbeat. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but maybe you can. Notice that. Notice if only one hand is moving and the other hand is completely still. And now extend that exhale again. So try to breathe through your nose if it's possible for you, and extend and slow the exhale. See if you can listen to the sound of your breath as you exhale. And just let all of that go. So you can take your ball aside for now. We'll come back to that another time. And if you've got a chair to sit in, let's come to a chair, come to a seat. Just going to sit in the chair. Now I have a stool, so I don't have the arms of the chair or a back. But what I'd like you to do is make sure, actually I'll go where you can see me better. Make sure that your feet are on the floor, okay? I'm short, and so most chairs I end up being like this in order to touch. So either have a chair that fits you better, or you can get different props, different things like a pillow, your rolled towel, anything like that, to bring the floor up to you so that you have full connection, because we want to do a grounding exercise here. So we want to feel connected to the floor or the foundation beneath you. So I don't need this for this stool, but I usually do for other chairs. So just sitting comfortably, your hands can be on your lap or on the arms of the chair if you have that. The feet nice and flat on the floor. And again, noticing the feet on the floor. The eyes can be open or closed, whatever is comfortable for you or allows you a deeper observation. And just notice again, just like we did when we were standing, noticing where we were carrying the weight in our feet. Now with sitting, notice if you feel that you are right over top of your sit bones. They're kind of like the pointy bones at the underneath your bottom. Or are you tipped back? Are you behind them? Or are you tipping forward and they're behind you? So just kind of notice, maybe move a little bit in the chair to notice where you feel the greatest alignment with your spine and your pelvis. And pause there for a moment. Notice if you are holding your breath or very shallow breathing, and see if you can change that. And then if it's comfortable to do so, close your eyes or have a soft gaze so that you're not actually looking at anything. And notice the sensation of the supports underneath you. Notice the floor under your feet. Notice the chair under your bottom. And notice that these things are holding you so that you can rest. And notice the length of your spine. See if you can bring your awareness to the length of your spine from your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head, the top of your head. And does this feel like a nice, long, tall line? And notice your breath. And sometimes in times of anxiety or stress, placing a hand on the heart is really helpful. So if you feel like trying that, place a hand on the heart and just breathe. And you could release your hand. You could open your eyes. And we'll do a senses check. This is also another way if you're feeling quite triggered. If you can remember not only the extending exhale, but also to get a good foundation, to have full contact with the floor with your feet, the seat, underneath you. Especially if you're really feeling anxiety, if you can lay down on a firm surface like the floor, that would be incredibly grounding, because the more contact that your body has with the surface, the more held and safe it will feel. It will be an immediate change to the nervous system. So keep that in mind. That's a good one. I've used that many times. So with the eyes open now, just look to the right, look around the room. So look to the right, look up towards the ceiling, look down towards the floor, and notice what do you see over your right shoulder? What is in the space with you? What shapes, what colors? Notice every detail that you can about the space that you're in. And then look forward. Look up towards the ceiling. What can you see up towards the ceiling? What does the light in the room look like? And then look down to the floor, noticing everything there is to notice on the floor beneath you. And then looking forward, and then you can look over your left shoulder now. And if you want to twist a little bit in your upper body, that's totally acceptable to do. So it doesn't just have to be the neck. This isn't just looking over the shoulder. It's actually turning a little bit if you can. And looking over now the left side of your body and what's in the room around you on the left side. And you could look up and you could look down. And just notice patterns, shapes, colors. Look forward again. And now notice what sounds you might hear around you. Maybe start with any sounds outside the room that you're in. It's raining here, so I hear rainfall, and that's beautiful and very soothing. And then notice what you hear inside the room and even inside your body. So maybe your breath, maybe your heartbeat, maybe your stomach gurgle, or none of those. And a final check-in with the energy within your body, the quality of thought, the busyness of the mind. Hopefully, you're coming to a little bit of stillness, a little bit more than you started with. But if you're not, that is okay. It takes practice, and the practice is coming back. That's the practice. The practice is the repetition and the consistency of returning. It's not even the specific thing we're doing. The practice is the practice, if that makes sense, but it's true. So just for a moment, noticing whatever there is to notice in the body at this time, in the mind. Take another breath. Let it go. Open your arms wide and give yourself a hug. And it might feel good even to kind of curl over. Or if you have a pillow, that's even better. Taking a pillow, I don't want to make my mic make a noise, but curl into the pillow. This is wonderful for the nervous system to feel contact in the torso, like a hug, even if you're hugging yourself or hugging a pillow, is very calming to the nervous system and a very direct and quick access to calm the nervous system. So either just hugging yourself, and you can curl in, or you can sit upright and maybe tap your ribs on either side. Or if you have a rolled up sweater, a pillow, anything like that, and just curling in and feeling the sensation of that object against your body, whether it's the pillow or the sensation of your arms around yourself. Feel what that feels like. Not only the sensation physically, as in you feel the arms around you and that compression, but also how does it feel emotionally? Does it feel calming and soothing? Does it feel like you want to cry? I have quite a few clients that as soon as they do this, they cry or tear up. Or maybe it just makes you feel really good, really soothed. So this is another beautiful thing that you can do for yourself, whether it's the pillow or a towel or your cat, if they'll stay still long enough. Hugging is never a bad thing. And I think we will end here for today. This is just a very short exploration for anxiety, for reducing anxiety, some of the tools that you can use, whichever ones work for you or speak to you. And sometimes it's worth noting, sometimes a tool that just doesn't make sense today or doesn't work for you today, it's worth revisiting because sometime in the future, it may be the one that you love the most. I've personally had that happen where something just didn't work and I didn't understand why, and it never made sense. And then now it's one of my favorite ones to go to because I don't know, I just got to the point where I understood it better, or something changed within me that I could then observe how it made me feel. And so I do urge you that even if some of the practices that we did today, if it didn't quite work for you, or you felt maybe impatient with it or frustrated, please do return to it at some point in the future and just kind of give it another test. You might be surprised. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is just a little tiny bit with reducing or easing the sensations of anxiety. And I hope that you will join me again for further explorations. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Take good care.